Hey friends, let's look at the truth table for the biconditional, and then we'll talk a little bit about identifying the main connective. I made a joke once. Someone said that they don't teach the biconditional because students don't understand it anyway, and I said, well, judging by the rate at which they affirm the consequent, maybe it's the conditional they don't understand, which I think is actually true. The biconditional is like two conditionals, right? It's a conditional that goes this way, and a conditional that goes the other way. So with the regular conditional, where we get tripped up is down here where the antecedent is false, and what happens is the conditional turns out to be true. It's confusing with the conditional because we sometimes assume that if I say, if this, then that, then I also mean, and if not, then not. That's what the biconditional is. If P, then Q, and if not, then not. If I go to the store, I'll bring you a treat, and if not, then not. So it's true if they're both true, and it's true if they're both false, but any other combination of true and false, any mix of true and false yields a false biconditional. Let's talk a little bit about identifying the main connective. It's a little confusing. The main connective defines the sentence. What kind of sentence is this? It depends on the main connective. The main connective will give us the essence of the proposition we're looking at. So here we have A and B, if A and B, then not C. All right, and that's how we'll read it out. Here, it's not the case that if both A and B, then not C. Here we have B or A, if and only if A, then C. Okay, now, grammatically speaking, that's a mess, right? And we could have, there's lots of ambiguity when we're just using the words, for sure. When I said B or A, if and only if, you know, that could be like this, or it could be like that, right? So yeah, there's a lot of ambiguity, but with our use of parentheses here, we don't really have any ambiguity here. What kind of statement is this? Well, the trick is that you pay attention to the parentheses, right? You're looking for the thing outside the outermost parentheses. Now, sometimes, even people like me, I'll make mistakes. Sometimes people make mistakes and put an extra set of parentheses. If the whole thing's in parentheses, just delete the outside set. All right, so look for something that's outside the parentheses. Here, our horseshoe is not inside any parentheses. It's connecting this bit with this bit. Now, of course, the tilde, the not, is also not in a parenthesis, but it is only about this. This connects this and that. Major connector. Here, we've got a big old thing in parentheses modified by not. The not is the outside operator here. So it's not the case that this second sentence here, more than anything else, essentially, it's a negation. This third one is a biconditional, where one of the biconditions is a disjunction and the other is a conditional. I was asked recently if we need any kind of PEMDAS, order of operations kind of thing here, and we don't, because notice that all of these connectors, I mean, the negation is not exactly a connector, but all these connectors only connect two things. It's never well-formed to have a three-term sentence like that. We need to break it into two, like that. or, you know, the other way, like that. So there's always going to be one connector that's the major connector and one, you know, and the others that are subordinated to it. I know no one really needs another logical notation system, but I want to introduce the Lukasiewicz notation because it handles major connectives really nicely. So for the two-term connectors here, we do the capital that represents the operation or the connection that we're making, and then the two sentences to be connected in this way. So K is conjunction, KPQ is PNQ. A is our alteration or disjunction, so APQ like this is P or Q. Here we've got our conditional, here we've got an equivalency or our biconditional, and then negation. So interestingly, we can stack these up in a really nice way, and the first letter that we identify is always going to be the major connector. Again, not that anyone really needs this. It's not terribly useful for the stuff that we do in propositional logic, but identifies the major connective really nicely. This is an alteration. This is a disjunction, all right? Let's see if we can't piece together what it looks like. It's the disjunction of S and the conjunction of an equivalency and a conjunction. So again, this unwieldy mess is the alteration of S and a conjunction. All right, so S, and what is this bit? A conjunction of this huge thing and T, right? This huge thing is, and T's way over here. This huge thing is the conjunction of an equivalency and a conjunction, right? So the conjunction of an equivalency of a conjunction whose first member is P, whose second member is the conditional, if Q then R, and the other side of the equivalency, the biconditional, the conjunction whose first member is an alteration, a disjunction between P and Q, and whose second member is R, and then that wraps up the other side of this conjunction. So this is one member of the conjunction, and this is the other member of the conjunction. Okay, yeah, it's big, it's ugly, it's unwieldy. I mean, so is this. But here, at least, we understand that this, at least, is a disjunction, an alteration, where here, maybe harder to spot that this is the main thing going on here, that this defines this very complex proposition. But here it's very clear that this defines this very complex proposition.